What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got a lot to talk about here today. Let's jump right in. First, former President Donald Trump says he won't pick former Vice President Mike Pence, his vice president, as running mate in 2024, saying Mike Pence committed political suicide. And the former president's remarks appear in an upcoming book. Former President Donald Trump says in a new book that he will not pick his former Vice President Mike Pence to serve as his running mate if he launches another White House bid in 2024. Remember that Donald Trump is the forerunner for the Republican Party by a long shot. He is the number one candidate for the Republican Party by a large margin. So he does look like he will be the Republican candidate. Trump says, quote, "It would be totally inappropriate." Mr. Trump's main objection to his former vice president is that Mr. Pence refused to overturn the 2020 presidential election results on January 6, 2021. Mike committed political suicide, Mr. Trump told the authors. In response, during his January 6th rally at the White House, Mr. Trump urged his voters to, quote, "fight like hell," and later tweeted that Mr. Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution. In response, rioters who breached the Capitol yelled, quote, "hang Mike Pence." Mike Pence, for his part, has defended his decision, saying, quote, from Mike Pence, saying, quote, "President Trump is wrong," he said in February at a Federalist Society conference. Quote, "I had no right to overturn the election." You can let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Meanwhile, Trump says today he, quote, "can't imagine being indicted for crimes," argues that it wouldn't deter him from running again if he is indicted. Former President Donald Trump said here today that he, quote, "can't imagine being indicted over his handling of classified documents or a scheme to put forward alternate electors after the 2020 election, but that if he were indicted, it would not deter him from a possible White House run in 2024. He says, quote, "I can't imagine being indicted. I've done nothing wrong," Trump told conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt. Quote, "I don't think the people of the United States would stand for it," Trump added. "And as you know, if a thing like that happened, I would have no prohibition against running. You know that." Trump, in the interview, claimed he had no involvement in a plot to put forward alternate electors in Georgia that would have tipped the state for him, despite President Biden winning by thousands of votes. Though he did insist the concept was, quote, "very common." Georgia prosecutors have been investigating the scheme and interviewing Trump associates like Rudy Giuliani in the matter. The former president also repeatedly denied any wrongdoing in his handling of the classified documents after the FBI searched his Mar-a-Lago estate last month. The agency conducted the searches months after it found dozens of classified documents at the residence and unsuccessfully tried to get the materials back from Trump. Trump reasserted his claim that he had declassified all of the documents he kept at his home more than a year after leaving the White House, though experts have disputed that he could do so without going through a formal process. And Trump's legal team has not argued in court that he has declassified the materials. Trump says there is no reason they can indict other than if they're just sick and deranged, which is always possible because I did absolutely nothing wrong. And Trump warns of problems like we've never seen before if he's indicted for any crimes. So you can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Meanwhile, Governor DeSantis is sending migrants to Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, take a look at this now. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis flew 2 planes of migrants to Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts on Wednesday, intensifying a fight in which high profile Republican governors are now sending migrants to liberal states. So now Greg Abbott from Texas and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis are now both in the works on doing this. A spokesperson, and remember that Texas had sent or had spent over $12 million just by the end of August 31st. They had already spent over $12 million busing people to states and cities like Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. So it's got to be obviously more than that. This was as of August 31st. So I don't know, 13, 14, 15 million now at this point. And imagine how many busloads they're sending here. You can let me know your thoughts on this. Again, it's just trying to get, not pick sides or anything like this. But, obviously this is a problem. Obviously this is a problem. And, Texas has been dealing with this for years and years and years. The border issue is a massive, massive problem. There's just thousands of people coming in all the time there. And now Florida's doing it. DeSantis says, who's considered a possible Republican candidate as well, confirmed that he sent the migrants were flown on planes, chartered planes. That's got to be even more expensive than a bus, I would think. He says, quote, yes, Florida can confirm the 2 planes with illegal immigrants that arrived in Martha's Vineyard today were part of the state's relocation program to transport illegal immigrants to sanctuary destinations, DeSantis said. DeSantis has been sending migrants to sanctuary cities or states that limit their cooperation with federal immigrant authorities. About 50 Venezuelan migrants, including some children, were flown through Martha's Vineyard. That's the island just south of Cape Cod. Imagine how much that had to cost to send 2 chartered planes for only 50 people. That's gotta be expensive. As you may know, in this past legislative session, the Florida legislature appropriated $12 million to implement a program to facilitate the transport of illegal immigrants from this state's constituent with federal law, or consistent with federal law. So Florida is now going to spend at least $12 million as well. Texas has already spent over $12 million. It's ironic that it's the same number, but Texas has spent $12 million as of August 31st. It's got to be more than that now. Florida just confirmed that they've appropriated $12 million as well, and they're going to be flying people. I don't know if they're going to be using buses as well. Massachusetts state senator said the flights came in to the island via Texas, and they have called the situation an unexpected, urgent humanitarian situation. And, quote, Massachusetts said, they say they were told they would be given housing and jobs. Islanders were given no notice, but they are coming together as a community to support them. Quote, Republicans who call themselves Christians have been plotting for some time to use human lives, men, women, and children, as political pawns. It is evil and humane. That's a quote from Fernandez, who is the Massachusetts state representative. So let me know your thoughts here on this. This is just one of the battles going on here in our country. And Yeah, it's a tough situation. What do you think? What do you think? Texas and Florida spending millions and millions of dollars to do this. Some of the other states, I guess, welcoming them and trying to set them up with work and stuff. What do you think? What do you think? Also, in a somewhat related story, Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, Elizabeth Warren slams Rick Scott's um, bill, shameless attempt, she calls it, to pass a bill that would block Biden's student loan forgiveness. You can see here nearly half of US governors, all Republican, so basically all the Republican governors, demand Biden withdraw student loan forgiveness. It's crazy how this is a Republican versus Democrat thing. So all the Republican governors want to take help away from 43 million people. The Democrats don't, and the Republicans do. It's really strange how this turns up to be political. Political. In fact, here's another article right here. DeSantis joins 21 governors calling on president to cut student loan forgiveness plan. This is a few days old, so obviously it has gone to 21, 25, I don't know, something along those lines. But Elizabeth Warren slams Rick Scott, the senator, shameless plan to pass a bill that would block Biden's student loan forgiveness. So Republicans are going to try to take this to the court system, which is a very possibility. I don't think they'll be able to do it through Congress because they don't have control unless it happens after the midterms, which could be possible. But they could do it through the court system. And remember that Republicans do control the Supreme Court. Okay, 6 Republicans on the Supreme Court, 3 Democrats on the Supreme Court. And the thing here is that student loan forgiveness won't help me. It won't help my wife. We paid off our student loans. We would be the perfect type of person that could be mad at the world that's saying, oh, we paid them off or they're not benefiting me. And, we could be the person, but I'm not. The Bible says that you should be, thankful for your fellow neighbor when they get help, and those type of teachings, right? And again, in about 2 weeks, we have a SNAP reading or a SNAP reading. Oh boy, a SNAP meeting, and a food stamp meeting for over 48 million Americans. And if you've just been watching, just been paying attention, if you just look at all the different programs that have happened, 3 stimulus checks, paycheck protection program, unemployment executive orders passed by former President Trump. We've had rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, over $40 billion in rent assistance, $9.9 billion in homeowners assistance, utility assistance, now $300 billion in assistance for student loan forgiveness, many of which people pay for decades and decades and decades and decades. I personally think that one of the things they should do going forward is they should make student loans have no interest, no interest. So whatever the loan you take out on your student loans should be no interest. So if you take out a $50,000 student loan or whatever it is, it's $50,000, no interest. That would be a really good thing, I think, going forward for our education system. You can let me know your thoughts on this because education is just too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. Just like healthcare is too expensive. Healthcare is insane. It's really, really, really bad. But same thing with prescription drugs. So many different things just getting really expensive, right? But I think that if you look at all these different programs, 3 stimulus checks, look at all the problems we've had in the past with recessions and inflations where there was no stimulus checks. We did have some back in 2001 and 2008 where we got some smaller stimulus checks back in the past. I think that was underneath former President Bush, and I have to look it up. But we did get some in the past, but of course it was smaller. But inflation and money was smaller back then as well. But when you look at all these different programs, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, 3 stimulus checks, unemployment bonus checks, and paycheck protection programs. And it's ironic that a lot of the congressmen and congresswomen are people that got millions of dollars in paycheck protection programs forgiven, and they're crying about low income and middle income people getting $10,000 of student loan forgiveness when they got millions of dollars of paycheck protection programs. And they just passed a $250 billion bill for corporations like Intel and Nvidia, and all that money is going to go to corporations who already make billions and billions and billions of dollars, who could build these kind of factories for chips on their own, and we're going to give them billions of dollars to do this when they could already build this on their own. So I mean, you got to let me know your thoughts here in the comments section. But I personally am happy when my neighbors, when my family, when my extended family, I've seen hundreds or thousands of comments of people saying, yes, this is going to help me. This is going to help my family. This is going to help my friends. It's 43 million people. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be you. Could be your brother, your sister, your family members. But this is a lot of people. And when the food stamp conference comes, I think it's on September 28th. So we're less than 2 weeks away now at that. That could be another raise for 40 some million Americans as well. They could make more people eligible as well. The cost of food is up over 13% this year, and some food is up well over that. That could be another 40 some million Americans. Will that be challenged in a court of law? Will that be challenged by one political party or the other? I mean, this is the type of stuff that shouldn't be happening. When people get help, we should be thankful. We should be thankful. We shouldn't be saying, well, what about me? Or what about this person or that person? I get that not every single person gets help by every single party. I don't get food stamps. I didn't get this to student loan forgiveness, but I'm very thankful when people that are getting help get them, get that help, And again, it's just I don't know. It's maybe just the way I think. I don't have hatred in my heart. I don't have jealousy in my heart. And I hope, I just say thanks. I think that's good. Let's hope that the next program comes out and even more people get help, right? And that's why I keep you up to date here with all these different, even these 31 different states passing state stimulus checks, tax rebates, property tax rebates. And again, I hope they all do it. And then I hope that next year we see them all do it again, or as many states as possible do it again. Not a single state, as far as I know of, has used all their stimulus money. So that's a really good thing as well, because again, they could do it again. I mean, California, the largest state population wise. So again, it's just the most amount of people did a stimulus check last year, is doing it again this year. And honestly, they're going to be able to do it again next year. They just have so much money. So much money. I'm not from California, but I'm thankful that California can do it for their people because they're the most expensive gas. So if anything, it just helps out a little bit with their gas and their taxes and stuff like that, and it helps out. And they have a huge budget surplus, so they can do that. But now this year is the biggest year we've seen the most states pass state stimulus checks and stuff. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. I'll link you to some videos you can watch next with more money about checks and stuff like that. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. Click the bell icon after you subscribe so you get notifications when we go live with new videos. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to see more states that are sending out checks to their residents. Dozens of states doing it, millions of people getting checks. This video will give you more information on that. And then here is another video of a very important date coming out on September 21st for millions of Americans as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.